And welcome to Pulp Mythos. I'm Brian here with Larry and Spencer, and we're going to be talking about Snowfall Season 5, Episode number 7. Full spoilers ahead. So we got a little bit of news this week as far as the production side of the show. I wanted to jump into that real quick before we dive into the this review. That being that there will in fact be a sixth season. Great news. Very excited. There's a handful of more episodes of this season. Now we know there's a vision, there's a plan. We'll get into that sixth season. But at the end of season 6, they plan to wrap it up, which makes sense in terms of the timeline with what the show is based on. And I think there have been talk of potentially spin-offs and other stuff coming out of the show. But I am happy to know that okay, we're getting another season, and that'll allow them to wrap things up. They have enough time to think about it and not just get caught off guard with a cancellation. So yeah, just thoughts on that, and then we'll dive into all the details of this episode.
I think similar to Peaky Blinders, knowing
That's a good
that it's
example.
coming to an end. Yeah, well, knowing that it's going to be kind of set out to where we're going to have an end. We know it's coming. We know we can anticipate the storylines. And to me, like even at the end of this season, knowing that they're having at least one, you're not going to wonder. You're not going to be kind of anxious, feeling like maybe you were left hanging, but you also know where the story's headed. And coming into the last season, I think that Jesus, just knowing he's eventually going to get arrested, but who's going to be responsible for what's going on? Like I'm very anxious to see who all makes it out by the end of this series.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a fan, you really can't hope for more other than the creators to end on their own terms, which it seems like that's what they're doing. That they're getting to wrap up the show how they want. They're not being rushed. They weren't told season 5 is the end of it, or you have to wrap it up. You only have so many episodes left. So we're getting a proper ending to this and potentially a spinoff. And I am curious though, like you said, are we ending with Franklin going to prison, or heck, are we even perhaps because are they gonna address that, and are we gonna get a time skip for that last episode and clear up some events in that and leave enough loose ends for a spinoff series of some kind?
Yeah, I don't know. I know that I think there is intent to do more with it. It's as far as whatever they want to do, I'm all for it. I'm excited to see where it's going. Yeah, it's at the point now where it's just like I just want Franklin every year. Where whatever the character is doing, I just want 10 episodes of Franklin doing shit every year. In whatever form that is. But yeah, I don't know. Going into I want to jump into Teddy. I don't have a lot to say about Teddy in this episode, but I asked Spencer before we started recording, and he wasn't clear on it. I'm confused on it. So Teddy, he tells Gustavo basically, all right, I want to bug, Franklin. I don't trust him anymore. Okay, he has all this equipment. Fine. I get that. What I was confused by was the scene in which he was talking to some guy. Some guy is there and he's in a suit and he starts talking about accounts and moving this and doing that. And I'm like, what the hell is Teddy doing? Was there something I missed, or were you able to gather what Teddy's plotting?
It's hard to say, but it seems like Teddy wants, crime to be his full-time career from here on out. At least that's what it feels like. So I'm not sure whether he's making a move to protect himself from his agency and to venture into full-time crime, or whether he's sort of shielding himself from Avi and Franklin and everyone else. And he's very paranoid at this point, so it's hard to say. And I don't know if it's just all the drama that's happened lately, and him getting shot and him being replaced and everything that's happened and outed to the media and everything, or if it's Teddy legitimately doing his job. So I have no idea. It could be a number of things.
Spencer?
Yeah, well, you said that we talked about it before, but I forgot that we weren't recording.
Not on air. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we already talked about what the fuck you mean, Spencer.
Go check out our Big Sky review, where
yeah,
we
but
proceed to talk trash about a specific character for like 30 minutes.
yeah, Jesus Christ, he sucks. But they, yeah, I think Teddy is narcissism isn't always a. I mean, I think narcissism is a villainous trait, but it's not always the villain that's portrayed to have it. I think that Teddy has such a high importance of himself that I'm not sure at what point he still thinks that he's the good guy. What he's doing is not to protect, Franklin, he is 100% trying to protect himself and basically try to keep this thing moving because he feels like he's doing the right thing. But I'm not sure that at what point is he just completely full of shit because like Larry said, it's this life of crime that he's essentially honed and perfected, that he's legit just a giant piece of shit throwing everybody under the bus to, I don't want to say stay alive, because he is just trying to stay alive, but he's trying to stay alive. At the meantime, he is letting everybody know that they're expendable because in his eyes they are.
Absolutely. And I feel like if Teddy got, or if his department got, official funding for the Contras, and they're like, good work, Teddy, you don't have to do this anymore. It's out in the open. We have official funding for them now. Things are going good. He'd still make excuses why he should continue this, because this is what
They
he
need
wants
a
to
couple
do.
dollars.
Teddy,
You guys aren't
Teddy,
funding it the way I think you should be funding it.
Teddy can't function unless he kills at least one person in their sleep a year. that's Teddy's rule.
He's like Dexter. He's just
Yeah. At this point, the way he operates, not far off. Jerome went on a pilgrimage this episode. It was initially it was a quest to track down Peaches. It led to sort of a self type discovery and what it is he needs to do with his life. And nice little moments where he's at the garden and he has the moment where the soldiers talking about their PTSD and the horrors of war. He's reflecting on that, and it was a good little journey. It leads him to the end, realizing that he needs to take a little step back from the business. He also realizes that him and Lou, he wants to get married and do all that, and so it was a great episode for the character. A lot of development there. Very interested where that's leading specifically because of a decision that his wife or his future wife made, which is going to impact the show, I think, in a big way. But specifically, Jerome, like, what were your guys' thoughts on that arc of this episode?
I do like the Zen Garden scene because it seems like it contrasts everything you see Jerome doing so much, because it seemed like at least to me, it felt like the most peaceful moment you've ever seen Jerome in, where he's just sitting there and he's quiet and he has a moment to think, and it seems like it's hitting him that he needs more of that in his life than in that moment. That said, I do love that everybody in the show seemed as confused as I was by the fact that they weren't already married.
Yeah, that's 100% agreed. Yeah.
yeah. I was under the assumption because they call her Aunt Lou that
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean they've referenced him, the military and stuff before, but I think this episode kind of went into it a little bit more when he was at the VA and he was running into people, and it wasn't just. I think it was showing the issues with drugs even at that point. It wasn't just the cocaine and the crack. When you look at everything that those guys have had to do and had to put up with. And, coming back from Vietnam, and they were spat on in the street and seen as the enemy. Like, it's a lot of things that they had to deal with that, I couldn't even fathom or imagine. And for him to come back and have all this pent up rage and anger, and his outlet has always been family and just basically smoking weed every day and just chilling out. But to see him start reflecting on his own life and having this inward kind of journey was, I think, really good for character development when we're fucking 5 seasons in and learning not only like the direction they're headed in character growth, you're learning more about the character still, and it doesn't feel like complete bullshit, which we've talked about other shows where it feels like everything's a stretch. This one, they do such a great job with character building that I always am anxious to learn more about each character every episode.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of things make sense too. Like for one, I never thought about the fact that it's rare that you get Jerome's perspective on a thing, like his actual, perspective. You're more likely getting Louis. Like we know about jamming Jerome's and he wants that, but other than the speaker shop, other than just wanting to have enough money, he seems very satisfied with life. We rarely go into the things that he actually wants outside of that, and also it made the whole Peaches thing make sense because we were all thinking, well, Peaches has seemed pretty loyal up until this point, but then they explained that Peaches had been using, and not only that, but he saw what Franklin just did to Rob at the beginning of this season. So yeah, of course, Peaches would be looking for an out because Franklin just did that to his best friend because he couldn't trust him because he was using.
Yeah, completely. I thought one of the most powerful moments of the episode, which Jerome really felt a personal attack that Peaches betrayed them, but then you have that moment where he was in the house, and at first he thought they were plotting against him. They were going to try and take him out or rob him or whatever, and then he realizes, oh no, the dude was helping me. Peaches is a junkie, and the tear rolls down his face. Just the moment of realization, you tell it hurt him, and he's like, well, shit. Man, there was a lot of great stuff with him this episode. The thing as far as Louis, I mean, holy shit. Leon wants to broker peace with Kane, and it appears that he does. They have a little sit down. They talk about the business. They talk about things that have happened. It seems that things have worked out. Now, whether or not you can trust Kane or not, that's up in the air, and even Franklin is aware of that. But a peace was brokered. Louis don't care, She goes to Buckley, and basically makes the decision to order a hit. The second sit down, in which basically it's if you green light this, there is no turning back, and she says, "Fuck it, do it." So I think that's going to be a big deal. Now, will they be successful in the hit? If not, what are the consequences of that? It's going to be, I'm assuming, the police that are going to do this. Maybe. I don't know how he's going to get it done, but they make a point to say the reason they don't just go after Kane is because he has a lot of allies. A lot of people respect him. And if you take him out, it could cause a war. There's a whole discussion at the beginning of the episode about the strategy of how to deal with Kane, and one of their concerns is war. Jerome makes the line, well, shit, we're at war, but they're like, no, things could get worse. So depending on how Kane is taken out, whether it goes successful or not, how that if it reflects on Franklin and them, what Leon, how is he going to feel about this if he learns the truth? Is Louis going to try and keep this a secret? There's a lot of dynamics with that. What are your guys' thoughts on sort of that storyline?
Well, I think when you mentioned that not only did she go behind his back, when I look at it, I just remember we talk about communication and how, communication is key in every relationship. I just start laughing because I think of nowadays, like I could literally just send you a text and be like, "Hey man, I I talked to old boy and we're cool now." Oh, it's all good. Instead, has no idea what's going on the other end. She knows that Leon wanted to do it, but she didn't go and actually say anything. So it, it's just funny how easy communication travels in a moment's notice now. And in the 80s, it didn't. They're like paging each other and shit, and it's funny.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because the last two episodes couldn't have happened, nowadays, where it's like, oh, I'm trapped over on this side of town, nobody knows I'm here, and we're going through this situation, the other party doesn't know that this is going on because everybody has a cell phone. It wouldn't have been a problem. The minute that Gustavo and Franklin got away, they just would have pulled out their cell phones and called Louis or Jerome or somebody, and they'd have been out of there. They would have had a car going their direction like that. Um, but yeah, I do think this is a big misstep for Louis. And like you said, that lack of communication is definitely going to hurt them. And, that wedding, may in fact turn into a massacre because of what she's doing. Because I don't think that hit's going to go through. And I think she should have let things play out first to at least see if, like, okay, well, he's going to play ball. We're making payouts to his family and everything, and we've got him working for us, and and if he's willing to do that, and if nothing seems to be off for a while, then you have a piece. She didn't even give that piece a chance.
What are your thoughts on Sissy? We got her in a couple scenes this episode. Franklin was expressing his frustration because he feels that she, got involved with his relationship with V, and that sort of caused the rift that they have going on. She was staring at his office oddly a couple times. It's like, okay, what's she thinking? What's she doing? Did she plant the bug? Is she thinking about doing that? Like, it wasn't crystal clear as far as what she was up to. We do get the line in which Franklin's like, where is she? Oh, she's meeting a friend for coffee. Okay, we know what that means. The informant or whoever the guy is, we still don't know who he works for, but she was meeting him. So this week they left out that side of the show. They didn't tell us what that conversation was and what happened. So I'm assuming something important, because she seemed like something was bothering her. But like I said, they didn't give us any details. But what are your guys' sort of thoughts on Sissy? I mean, Franklin has everyone coming at him in some way, shape, or form, including Sissy to some degree. Not intentionally. Clearly, she doesn't want to do anything to hurt Franklin, but her actions still could hurt Franklin.
I don't know, man. I think at this point, I don't think that Sissy is worried about Franklin. I think that she feels like he is responsible for his father's death. And it gets to the point where I think that she's almost, I don't want to say at a loss, but she feels as though he is responsible for all the hardships that she's had. He is responsible for his own father's death. He is responsible for his own demise. She feels like he's on this path of not only hurting himself, but hurting his unborn child. Like, I think that she's at a point now where she feels as though maybe prison is the safest place for him and the best place to where she won't have to put him in a body bag. And I think that she is 100% going to try and get him arrested. She is going to be his demise, I think.
It does seem like she's weighing her options right now, and I do think at the end she is going to plant that bug that they wanted to plant. But I think the one saving grace here is going to be the fact that Teddy's also talking about bugging Franklin's office, and I feel like, given what they've just been through, Gustavo is going to tip Franklin off to that, and so he's not going to do any business in that office. None of his illegal business, or he may remove them and get the bug that Sissy planted as well, and then maybe later on find out that it's from someone different.
That would be great.
Like
They're trying to bug him, they find it. Who the fuck else is trying to bug Franklin?
Yeah, exactly. It could come to a head because of that. We have that extra bit of conflict, and the interesting part is, like, we still don't know who these people are.
Yeah, that was another. Oh, go ahead.
as much as this show is not like comical at most points, I would love for them to just write a bit where like he's finding a bug and you just see a dude dressed like Dwight, or even have Rainn Wilson come in and, do an Office reference because he was always bugging Jim's office. I just think it's funny. If it's just like a pen or like a duck.
Well, yeah, he used a duck that time. That was funny. It was funny that Jim figured it out and was just like annoyed. Like he wasn't even mad. He's just like, ah. But yeah, going back to Gustavo, that's a great point. Like Teddy's trying to make up with him, basically, like, oh, look, I'm sorry I left you, blah, blah, blah. And Gustavo is just sort of looking at him like, okay, where's his loyalties lie now? What is his mind? How does he perceive Teddy? Now, I think it seemed just based on what he said to Franklin that he understood why Teddy left. That didn't seem to shake him. But what did was when Franklin told him that Teddy was spying on them. Mm-hmm. Because now he's thinking, well, shit, dude, I thought I was your guy. I thought, when you do stuff, I'm in the know. Well, I wasn't in the know for that. Why? Why wasn't I in the know for that? And so I think that was a moment for Gustavo where he's like, I don't trust Teddy. And now Teddy wants me to do all this shit to Franklin. Gustavo is a wild card here with the sort of the Teddy storyline.
Yeah. And loyalty seems very important to Gustavo, for one. And Teddy's not showing that. Teddy's not showing the level of trust that he's expecting Gustavo to show him. There's so many lies and layers to Teddy now that Gustavo would be a fool to trust him, is the thing. He's like, okay, he's spying on me already. Yeah, I know he's weary of Franklin. We're both working for the same agency now, but he's also spying on me at this moment. So what's up with that? What's Teddy's plan here? He has to be thinking these things. There has to be a lack of trust there.
Well, I think too, when you look at Franklin he's not a kid anymore. He's more of a, I want to say young adult at this point. I think it's stretched where he's in his later 20s by now.
Yep.
But he still idolized Oso. Like he loves Gustavo. And I think Gustavo is always put his family first. And Franklin sees that. He always puts his niece and nephew first. He puts he's all these people. Gustavo's a very big family man, but he's very loyal. And I think that by Teddy betraying him, Gustavo's loyalties is Franklin. But I think that Franklin is going to see how loyal Gustavo is. And I think that Gustavo is going to be, by the end of this, he's going to be his ride or die. That's going to be his boy, as opposed to, Leon and Jerome and all these people, because Gustavo has never put Franklin in a position where he questions his loyalty. And even before, these last couple episodes where they're trying to escape a tiger and shit, like they've always looked out for each other.
They have, let's not forget, I can't recall whether it was season 2 or 3 where Franklin started trying to make deals and distribute, outside of his territory. And there was that gang. It was just Franklin by himself in his car. And, it seemed like that gang was about to kill him until Gustavo stepped in.
Yep. I think like the middle of season 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so. So Gustavo just like saved him back then as a fan. And Franklin had shown that same loyalty, in the past 2 episodes when he could have taken off and left Gustavo behind, without any repercussions whatsoever. He came back and put himself in danger to go back and save Gustavo. So, yeah, I think his loyalties lie with Franklin.
The only other character that we haven't discussed is Teddy's new girlfriend. She's in the episode. She clearly seems to want to be in a relationship with Teddy. Teddy seems down for it. Like I said, Teddy's got a lot going on. He's very paranoid at this point. He's wanting to spy on everybody, bug everybody. He's got something going on with this one guy. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know what Teddy's up to. I guess she's part of it now. Where that storyline goes, I have no idea. Just any thoughts on that? I don't really have any.
I think it, to me, is showing Teddy's state of mind. This woman is, I don't want to say clearly unhinged, but she is fucking, something is wrong with her. So I think that it's
Wrong in all the right ways, man.
well, yeah, but I think it's also, oh, excuse me. To me, it's showing not only her mental state, but it's showing that he is. They always they keep showing him do drugs. They keep showing him do coke. The fact that he used it to survive, literally, I think is showing that it, not a parallel, but when you saw Peaches, he was using and it was making him do some bad things. This show is showed how drugs have affected a lot of people mentally, and I think that this is showing that Teddy, until what, last season or the season before, he was always, he was never using until his wife and him had their fallen out, and then he was starting to use. And I think that it's showing, I don't want to say a parallel, but it's showing how drugs is affecting his state of mind as well.
Yeah, in fact, the scene you mentioned where he's talking to the guy about accounts and everything. At first I was wondering, like, my first thought, when seeing the episode was, okay, she's been looking all through his things. She's been very much in his business. Is he shifting things in a way where she has nothing on him? Is he about to make a move to deal with her? And he's just,
It may be, yeah. Because I was wondering if it was tied to her as well. Like, but I don't. It was just an odd scene, and they really didn't go into the specifics. It just sounded like it involved money being moved and secured in some way.
Right. Well, yeah, and there's the fact that she said she wanted money. Also, money was one thing, but she also wants to be with him. So, is he getting her money, or is he shifting things out of accounts because she has all his personal information now and is clearly like looked into him? Like, what is he doing?
She wants adventure, Larry.
Like, because yeah, exactly. We know that they work together in Tehran, and it's like in what capacity? Like, what is her skill set? Is he worried about her because she's crazy, and maybe has an intelligence background of some kind?
She's an assassin doctor.
Seems likely now.
Very. Yeah, I think I've said it a couple times. I hate repeating myself, but I do love that. On the one hand, we get the cool sort of, the drug stuff, and we get that, it's like The Wire or whatever, Sopranos. But then on the flip side, we get all the spy shit. We get all this spy stuff, and it's just really cool. It's a cool combination of genres that make this show. So yeah,
I do love that it's layered like that. Yeah, like I said, it adds a little something extra to it. Blending these genres together. And I couldn't think of any other scenario where that could work, other than Snowfall and what it's about.
Well, I think that, and we always praise the writing, the way that they tie everything together, to me, is a testament to the writers and creators, because it's, a lot of this is based on Freeway Rick Ross's actual life, but for them to tie all the other characters in and make us care about not just Franklin but everybody else, and to make us genuinely like the bad guy. Franklin's not a good guy. he's done some awful shit, and he's literally spreading poison.
Tony Soprano, man.
Yeah.
You root for the bad guy.
Well, I think FX does a good job with that. You look at The Shield, even Sons of Anarchy kind of went off the rails there at the end. I mean, there's these awful people that you root for. And even this, like, Franklin's not a good dude, but you're always just like, man, I don't want him to fail. I don't want him to die.
Going back to the writing, like, think about this, and this is what's so great about the show. Jerome he's looking for Peaches. He's at this doctor. The doctor sees him. Why? Because his hand's hurt. Why is his hand hurt? Because he punched a guy in the last episode. He flipped out and he beat this guy up. He broke his hand. that led to this episode, which led to him going to that meeting. When you look at that, as a viewer, you realize, oh shit, there's a literal character arc that they outline for the whole season. That's all I ask. and when you watch a show that doesn't do that, it's very clear. And when you watch a show that does do that, it's clear. And so, it's very appreciative that, okay, here's a show that's planned. These characters, there's a path that's thought of in advance, and the show just executes it brilliantly.
Right. That scene was weird for me because I broke the exact same bones in my hands.
I was thinking
like
about that. I didn't bring it up, but yeah, Larry literally his hand's been fucked for weeks, and it.
It's like, hey, those are the exact same bones. But yeah, like you said, just the way that all that fits together and it dominoes, and the way it's written, you feel characters, especially Franklin. You feel Franklin's stress. When he's stressed out about a thing. They do a really good job of portraying that.
That is
okay about full carrots.
You just eat them raw, or do you dip them in something?
I'm just little baby carrots, man.
I buy the carrot. I like the slices. I'll use them and I'll dip them in stuff. Or I'll you know what? I'll make a wrap, and you just put like cheese and meat, and then a bunch of carrots in it. It gives it the crunch. I like that too. Or radishes.
I do like radishes.
I do. I know a lot of people tell me they don't like them, but I like them.
I love horseradish.
I don't know. Is this like an old man thing or something? Because I like these two vegetables I used to hate when I was a kid. Also,
you get old. You're like, I buy carrots. I buy bags of carrots and radishes.
Carrots and radishes. Yeah,
I do.
Same here.
But yeah, that's all. That's all the main storyline. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we wrap this up?
Oh no, I want to wrap this up because the next episode is in 6 minutes.
Yeah, it is. Anything, Spencer?
No, I'm good, man.
All right. Appreciate everyone listening. Look out for content on the channel. A lot of stuff coming up. That Barry trailer hit last night. Check that out. We will be doing reviews for that series. We got Flight Attendant, maybe Tokyo Vice. I'm not 100% sure. It's got an insane release schedule. We'll have to talk about it, but we might do it. Let us know if you're watching it. Yeah, thanks for everything, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.